working on the house. Shannon wanted the house a little bit bigger. So, we have a farmer's market on Wednesday, and Shannon's like, you need to make your apple butter. So I made my apple butter. I ended up with 14 jars of apple butter right here. 14 jars. But I don't gotta can them, get all that done. Once that's done, then this will be ready to go for the farmer's market. Shannon's gonna make a bunch of cookies. I gotta make some dog treats. You got this lot of stuff going on. You know, getting some last minute things, last minute cash pulled in. Because we got an expensive move coming up. So
there's a difference you can taste in a cookie, a jam, a loaf of bread that didn't come from some factory line. It came from a kitchen that smells like childhood, from hands that cracked every egg, stirred every batch, and labeled every jar with care. Not because it was easy, but because it mattered. These aren't just baked goods. These are batches after long days. Family recipes scribbled on stained index cards. Apple butter made from a recipe spanning generations. Slow cooked, seasoned by memory, and sealed with pride. Cottage food isn't about cutting corners. It's about believing that real food, made by real people, still has a place in a world that moves too fast. You won't find it on a shelf at a big box store. You'll find it under a tent, on a folding table, made with love and maybe a little exhaustion. And somehow, that just makes it taste better.
you wanna try it? Sit. Sit. Here. Right? Is it good? I would call this a success. You like that? Good boy. Alright, dog treats are done. Apple butter's done. Working on the house. Shannon wanted the house a little bit bigger. So, I have added 3 feet to the house, which means in between the containers. So you have a container here, container here. Normally I'd have them back together, but what I've done is I separate them by 3 feet. So by doing that, you get 3 feet downstairs, so it's 3 by 40, and then you also have 3 feet upstairs, which is 3 by 40. Which also means I made the rooms upstairs will get a little bigger. The rooms downstairs are bigger. I also have wider staircase going up, which is perfect because I always hate how people make houses so small and so like, and this will give it a bigger feel throughout the whole thing. So yeah, now that I got the downstairs drawn out, look, oh, it's drawn. Now I gotta do the upstairs. All these things gotta be done. Deep in the farmer's market game, had to make a bunch of candied jalapenos. Shannon made her granola. So get all this done, head to the farmer's market and see what we can get ourselves into there. It's gonna be fun though.
We are heading up to Park City for the Wednesday farmer's market to sell our delicious, yummy goodness cookies and dog treats. So treats for them and a treat for you, which is kind of genius. So that's where we're heading today. It's bright and early. We left about an hour ago, but traffic really sucks. So almost there, going to set up and sell our yummy deliciousness.
Market day isn't just about selling, it's about showing up. In a world that scrolls past fast, a small town table in Park City reminds you to slow down and talk face to face.
What?
While the booths go up and the morning hustle begins, one space stays empty, Logan's. Not because he's missing, but because he's living. Graduated, free for a moment, and off to California with friends before real life starts knocking. That window doesn't stay open long, and he's right to take it. Back home, Devin turns on the mic. While Logan's chasing sunsets, the world around him burns with questions and unrest. Protest, riot, noise. But the real conversations, they're happening right here. in the quiet, honest corners where someone's willing to listen.
What's going on, everybody? Here we are, another week, more emails. Got some special for you guys this week. Got an email, and in the email I was sent a video clip. In this video clip, it is, I'm going to destroy her name, but it's from the BET Awards. Dolce, whatever her name is, pretty sure it's Dolce. I'm probably wrong, so no hate on that one. But during her acceptance speech, she had some things to say about the current status of things that are going on, especially in California and some things across the country, and all the stuff like that. It says, "Hey Devin, I've attached a clip from BET Awards. It's Dolce's movement, getting celebrated, bold, in a bold outfit, big energy, and look, I'm all for expression and art, but at what point does it start feeling like a performance for clicks rather than a celebration of black excellence? I'm trying to see it from all angles, but something about it rubs me wrong. Can we talk about where the line is between being empowered and being exploited?" Jermaine in Atlanta. All right, here's the thing. I took some notes. I have things that are bothering me. So there's okay. Let's go to your point. Probably okay. So let's address one. Okay, let me back up. Here's my thoughts. Then I'll address your point of what you're trying to get to. So one, she says, let's address what's happening outside the building. There's ruthless attacks, creating fear and chaos in the name of law and order. Here's the thing. There's ruthless attacks that are happening. I'm a firm believer in obeying the law, right? And if I speed, I get a ticket. It's my fault. I didn't obey the law. I suffer the consequences. Everything has consequences. Everything is, there's supposed to be law and order. Where there's things that people do. Then she goes in, I'll go back to that in a second. Then she says, Trump is using the military to stop the protest. Okay, let's address that. It's not a protest. When you're destroying property, when you're stealing, when you're throwing rocks at military, throwing rocks at ICE members, you're throwing rocks or putting police cars on fire and all that type of stuff. That's the point when you go from a peaceful protest, and I don't care who's out there and who's saying what. Reality is this: protest means I can walk around, I can hold up a sign, I can talk about the things I disagree with, I don't like it. That is fine. But once it turns to actions of destruction, that becomes violence. So this is not a protest. This is a riot. This is people acting out because they can, and every one of them, and I'm going to say it, should be locked up in jail. If you're in this country, and you didn't come the right way. And when I mean the right way, means I have a friend of mine who came here illegally. Then he went back. He didn't get deported. This has been years ago. He went back. He's like, I want to be a U.S. citizen, so I need to do it the right way. So then he went to the border. He's filled out the paperwork. He did all this other thing. He got a tentative visa to be here for work and all this other stuff. And he had some people to sponsor him. He came across, and then he eventually became a U.S. citizen. That's the right way. If you go to any other country, if I was to cross the border illegally into China, I can either go to jail or they shoot me. If I go to Iran, I die. Every country has laws for coming into it illegally. I have no problem people being here. You want to be here? Come here, do it the right way. And I think that's what everybody's saying. Even Democrats, you can look me up and people can fact check me on this all day long. Democrats, from Hillary Clinton to Barack Obama to Bill Clinton to you go to even to Republican George W. Bush, all of them, they've all said the same thing. There is law and there is order, and if you want to come to this country, do it the right way. And if you don't, then you're going to be sent back out. Bottom line, they've all said it. Now, people who are protesting and destroying these things, they're just creating chaos for the sake of doing chaos. It's stupid. You shouldn't be doing it. When she said people are being torn from their families, did you know you can go back to your country with your family? Did you know if you self-deport yourself, there's actually a higher chance of you being able to come back to this country legally because you did it yourself. You're like, hey, I'm going to go out, then I'm going to get the information, do it myself. There is a process for all of this. You know, she says she wants to speak for all all oppressed people, black people. She went down the list of all these people. If you're in this country, there's laws against oppressing you. Now, if she's talking about the oppression of what she so calls a peaceful protest by burning buildings down and burning cars and destroying goods and things like that, that's not peaceful. That's not oppression. If you, by breaking the law, you feel you're being oppressed because you're breaking the law, you're taking something that doesn't belong to you, you have a problem. Now, this goes back to my issue and also what we're Jermaine in Atlanta. He says between being empowered, what can we talk about where the fine line between being empowered and being exploited is? When you're in the public eye, shut your mouth. If your job is to, and I say that because I'm in the public eye, so I'm not going to shut my mouth. My job is to talk about these things. This is what I do. I will continue to talk. Now, people can disagree with me, and that's fine. It doesn't bother me that people disagree with me. It just means that we're human, and then let's talk about why we disagree. Now, if you're on stage for accepting an award for something amazing, I don't know what her award was. Whatever it was, congratulations, you got an award. That's awesome. But it was probably because you're an artist of some sort and you're being recognized. Accept the award. Thank your God. Thank your family. Thank your producers. Don't use that forum for a political speech on things that you are uneducated about. Because that's what it seems like the biggest issue is in our country, is we have an education issue. And I'm going to blame the government for that, because we've been so honed into the government's going to teach us the things that we need to know. But they don't, because the government doesn't do anything that will benefit us to its fullest extent. They only give us a little bit, and then we have to do the rest. We shouldn't depend on the government to do anything at all, ever, except to protect our country from foreign invaders, from war, and things like that. That's all the same thing. If Russia wanted to attack our country, that's what our government's there for. When when you elect an official, you need an elected official that will represent you and your countrymen or your statesmen or whatever in the way that is beneficial for safety and security. But everything else is on you. If you want to steal something, you can go to jail. If you want to buy something, you have the money. If you want to trade for something, trade for it. But the problem is the education level. And it's to the point of I was just scrolling through different feeds on Instagram and all that, and I came across the Dan Crenshaw thing. And I'm not a huge fan of Dan Crenshaw. I used to be, but there's things that he says that are just not quite right sometimes. He gets some things right too. And in his feed, someone was talking about, Dan Crenshaw mentioned someone talked about how California, no, it was Katy Perry talking about how California belonged to such and such people. Yeah, you're right. It did at one time. But history lesson here, people. The United States fought a war, and then we end up purchasing the land from Mexico. Now, if I purchase something, that means I own it. So if our country purchased something from another country, that means we, the people, and our country own that land. It is no longer belongs to Mexico. It belongs to the United States of America. So, history lesson, if you don't believe me, just Google it. It's out there. You can read it, and it's there. So, again, educate yourself, people. So, Jermaine, I'm hoping I'm answering your question. I think that where the exploitation part is probably someone got in her ear and said, you need to talk about this, and we'll give you money. Because we know, even through like the Twitter files, that the federal government and certain parties were giving money to people to say certain things. Now, whether she did or not, I can't prove that. I don't really care. But I think she should have just gone up and thanked everybody and sat down because she got an award. Don't use it for any political means like she did. Because she's not oppressed. If anything,
She's doing way better than everybody else. In our country, in reality, people think about that's a racial thing. Race is gone. No one cares about race except politicians. Politicians thrive off of race, and people who are ignorant thrive off of race. What it comes down to at this point is poor people and rich people. And I can tell you what, I have been in both worlds, and I can tell you having money is way better than not having money. So that being said, figure out a way for everyone to get out of that area of being poor. Because it seems like as you're in the poor area, you start blaming governments for problems. I worked with a guy once. He was I hate the police. I'm like, well, really? Why do you hate the police? He goes, well, they're just a bunch of idiots. I'm like, okay, why? Why do you say that? You have an opinion, and that's based off of something. So what's your opinion? And he's like, well, I got pulled over one day. I'm like, what were you doing wrong? Well, he said I was speeding, but I know I wasn't speeding. I said, did you fight it? Well, no, there's no point. I said, okay, if you didn't fight it, did you have proof that you weren't speeding? He goes, no. He goes, and then he got me on a drug charge. Okay, where did you have drugs in the car? He goes, well, yeah, but that's beside the point. I said, okay, so you were speeding, you had drugs in the car, and you got arrested. Well, yeah, and then they impound my car. And so you hate the police because, one, you were speeding, two, you had illegal drugs in your car, and you hate the police because you broke the law. Well, you just don't understand. You're just on the side of the cops. No, I'm on the side of doing what's right. And if I get caught with doing something wrong, we have to be able to be willing to take in and say, I did something wrong. You got to be humble a little bit, and I'm going to fix this. Now, if you did nothing wrong, then you fight it. And you prove that you did it, that you didn't do it, should I say. The bottom line is do the right thing no matter what, even if it's going to hurt you. And I think that's the problem that we're seeing out in all these protests and these riots is people are not doing the right thing. They've never picked up one history book in their life, and they don't understand how things are. I mean, if Mexico wants California back, take it. Here's the deal. We'll sell it back to you. I guarantee if they offered the right amount of money, and it's probably going to be trillions, then we'll give it back to them. All those people can be under the rule of the cartels, because we know that for the most part that the Mexican government is not ran by Mexico and Mexican citizens. It's ran by.
At the end of the day, it's not just about the cookies we baked, the markets we showed up for, or even the podcast we recorded. It's about building something real with our hands, our time, and the people we love. Because when the dust settles and the day slows down, that's what lasts.